All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on Get Connected in the Cloud with Free Microsoft Tools. My name is Christine Harlan and I'm the Events and Membership Coordinator at Connecting Up. And today the webinar will be presented by Ben Teoh from Connecting Up. Some of you who might have attended our past webinars would have heard Ben present before. So today he will cover a couple of free Microsoft tools online, which include the Outlookcom, Office web apps, and also SkyDrive. And before I pass it on to Ben, I would now like to introduce you to Claire DV from Microsoft, who will say a few words of introduction from Microsoft, as this webinar is sponsored by Microsoft Citizenship. Claire, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes. I hand it over to you.
Hello. Excellent. Thank you very much. First of all, I'd just like to thank Connecting Up for putting together this webinar series in partnership with us. It's really exciting to be able to spread information about technology really broadly. And secondly, to thank everybody who has made time to be on this call today. I hope that you find the information really valuable. You get some of your questions about the cloud and some of our free tools that you may have had answered. The tools that we're presenting today, the online tools as part of cloud services, I think cloud presents an incredible opportunity, particularly for the non-profit sector. I know myself, having also been in the non-profit sector, it's, the ability to scale up and down depending on your fundraising seasons, depending on the campaign you're running. The ability to actually have access to technology tools that allow you to do your job better, easier, quicker, and when they're freely available online is something that can be very, very valuable. For Microsoft, we have really enjoyed our partnership with the non-profit sector. It is a partnership that has involved last year donating software to around about 50,000 organisations globally. For this next coming year, we're looking at trying to increase that to 75,000 organisations globally. And we do this because it allows us to extend our reach across many different causes. And we look at ICT adoption in the non-profit sector, and we like to start at the very basic levels, which is why we run webinars like this, why we run connection days in a number of countries, to get people first of all to understand the very basics of technology and understand how this technology can be relevant to your non-profit. And it's deliberately set up to be done in a way that is not intimidating. It is very simple, easy facts that you can take at the end of this webinar and you could action straight away. We then work with organisations that have really started to embrace technology and help them look at their technology needs in more detail. And this could be a complete overhaul of how they work. We've worked with organisations and helped them roll out big customer relationship management databases, or databases that help field staff communicate back to a head office and keep cases updated. The final part then we look at, there are certain organisations that go above and beyond as far as technology. They really have seen how technology can improve everything that they do. They have embraced technology as a core part of their operations and infrastructure. And we like to work with those organisations to learn from them and also to have them share with other non-profits, so you can learn from your peers about how technology is able to help you as a non-profit. The wonderful thing about these free tools and using cloud technology more generally, I find, is it almost allows you to leapfrog. So having an organisation like Microsoft provide the back end, provide the technical support and provide the products for you means that you no longer have to have the level of IT staff necessarily inside the organisation, or if you do have IT staff in your organisation, it takes some of the load off them. The final thing I want to say is I am incredibly proud of the commitment that we have to non-profits in the Asia Pacific region, and to be able to have you on the call and to run these webinars to help people understand all of these wonderful tools that are freely available is something that is really special to me. So with that, I want to thank you all once again for attending the webinar, and thank you again to Connecting Up for helping pull all the information together for us.
Thank you, Claire. If you do have any questions about Microsoft, we can also address them towards the end. Anyway, I will now not take much more of the time, and I will pass you over to Ben to do the presentation. Over to you, Ben.
Cheers, Christine, and thanks, Claire, as well. Wow, so we've got some really cool things to show you today, and the three things that we'll look at are Outlookcom, SkyDrive, and Office web apps. And all of these are free to access. All you need is a Microsoft account, and that's really easy to sign up for, and that's free as well. And so I'm going to step you through the features of each of these different services, and hopefully as I go through them, you can see some applications for your organisation, whether you're a small community group or if you're looking to use something personally or trying to manage your own files, then there's definitely scope for that. Most of this is going to be a demo as well, so I don't actually have many PowerPoint slides. It's all going to be inside the apps themselves. And if there are any questions that you have as we're going along, please type them in the box, and after each of these sections, Christine will ask the questions and we'll go through them. Feel free to ask anything about any features that I may skip over if you want to look at anything more in depth. So let's dive in and have a look at Outlook.com first. Okay, this is the new look Outlook.com. If you've been a Hotmail user in the past, or you've had a Windows Live account in the past and you're using email, this is what you probably have been transitioned to. It looks pretty straightforward in terms of folders like your inbox and your emails here. And it's all designed really easily, so there's no clutter here, and it reflects also the Windows 8 look as well, the modern UI look. There are a few key things here about Outlook.com that's worth noting. First up, you can see here at the top, with email, for myself in particular, whenever there's a task that needs to be done, I'll usually flag that. One of the frustrating things is if you flag something from like a week or so ago and you've had a flood of emails, they can be hard to find, but with Outlook.com you can pin them to the top, so when you flag them they'll sit at the top here. So this one here, I've got a message that I need to reply to and some minutes that I need to look at as well. Once I've clicked completed, they'll disappear. So that's just one quick way of looking at tasks. Of course, you've got this option here to filter your emails. Very handy if you've got unread emails that you want to jump to straight away. So that's a simple click there, and it filters out all your unread emails. Again, there are a few different filters that you can use here depending on your categories. So I can go back to my flagged emails as well and just show those. Right, let's go back to the inbox. Some of the things that I really like down here is the use of categories and folders. So here you can see I've created some folders, and these are where you want to store your emails. So that's, for example, I've got an email here about NetSquared, and I can chuck that into this folder here. But if you want to do some other filtering, you can see on the right-hand side, it also shows my categories. What's beneficial about this is that I can use either way to filter out my emails, and I could have emails in folders and in categories. And these quick views down here relate to these categories over here. So I can click on the photos category and it will show me all the emails that I have with photos in them. What's great as well is that Outlook can also sort those out automatically for you. So they have some filters built in to actually pull all your emails out with photos or with documents attached to them, and you can see them here in the quick views. Again, really handy if you're having to manage invoicing or anything like that, you can see them all there. And if you're sharing documents as well, it'll filter out documents too. In terms of composing emails, you can add documents and you can add photos and you can add links to your emails. Here are a few emails that I sent to myself just to demo this. So of course you can send emails that have photos attached to them. These are just an example of some photos that we've had used on our Facebook page before as attachments. And this is a cool feature. Here you can see that a link has been included in the email, and when I've opened the email, a preview's popped up here, so I can actually play that directly from Outlook. I don't have to jump over to YouTube to watch this video. Another great integration is that you can share files and photos directly from your SkyDrive account. The big benefit of this is that it means you can upload or you can share large documents, large folders, and lots of items as well. So you're not limited to size when you're composing your emails. Okay, let's jump back to the inbox. Another cool feature here is, I've got an email here that's popped up from Meetup, and there are a few different emails that I've had from Meetup as well, and I just want to move them all to folder 1 over here. So I'm going to click Sweep, and instead of trying to have to find each of my Meetup emails, I can just click Move All From, or if I want to delete them, I can delete all from. So it's going to search my inbox for all of the emails from info@meetup.com, and I'm going to move them to folder 1. And click Move All. There we go. So it says down here, 2 messages from info@meetup.com were moved to my folder. Really handy if you're doing a little bit of cleanup. There's nothing worse than an inbox that's just full of emails that you're not sure whether you've actioned them or if you need to file them away, or if you're searching for something, it can be difficult. So those are some real benefits there in terms of that sweep function. Again, you can even use sweep to schedule a cleanup. So I could say that I want to delete all the messages older than 10 days. I can change this as well. That's handy if you're using your email account as a notification center. So, for example, if you're getting emails every time someone likes your Facebook page, or every time sends you a tweet, then you can read those. But if you don't want to keep those notification emails, you can make sure that they're cleaned up out of your inbox. Every 10 days or so, or shorter, every 3 days. Again, very handy. Another cool feature here is, let's click on David's email here. Now I can report that as a phishing scam, or if I go into it and I click junk, I can actually say, oh no, my friend's account has been hacked, and click that, and it'll report that to Microsoft as well. So it's a good way if you've ever received spam emails from your friends. I know I've had them every now and then. It's a nice way to report and let them know, but it's also good to just keep on top of what's in your inbox too. Okay, well let's actually jump over here to the settings tab, because there are some cool things in here as well. Now, if you're familiar with the desktop app, with Outlook on your desktop, a lot of people use the reading pane as a way to quickly look at their emails. Again, this is available in Outlookcom to make it really easy for you to preview your emails. So you can have it at the bottom or on the right, just like you would on the desktop. So let's go back here. Alright, so let's go back to this video. As you can see, the preview pane's here. It's handy, just helps to save a few clicks here and there, but it means you can get through your emails faster. In terms of getting through your emails, as you'd expect, you can archive, you can move as you would in other, like in your desktop app. But you can also do this here from your instant action. So here you can see I've hovered over the subject line or the email here, and if suddenly these different options have popped up. So I can archive this message, I can mark it as unread, or I can delete it straight from there. I don't have to go through, click it, open it, and then work out what I want to do. Again, I can just click archive, and it'll jump into my archive folder. You can change these instant actions as well through the settings. So let's go back to the settings. Right, instant actions. Here we can add different actions. So if I want to add a category, I can do that. If I want to choose the move, I'll have to remove one first, but I can add different options here, and it'll show me what it looks like. I'm just going to cancel that for now. You can also do messaging straight from your Outlook.com page as well, and you can connect with your Google contacts. You can also use Messenger and Facebook, and for some people you can also integrate your Skype account, and that's being rolled out at the moment. So you can access all your messaging straight from this one site, which is really handy. Let's say you're out and about, or you're using a computer at an internet cafe or at a hotel in the business lounge or something like that, and it's not your computer but you want access to your emails and your messaging. You can just jump into the Outlook website and you can get all of that in one place and start chatting to your friends. So I can see that Big Care of Race is online, but I can click Start New Conversation and chat to any of these people. And that's integrated with Facebook. So if I message someone on Facebook from here, it'll pop up on their Facebook page, and we'll chat directly in that way. So again, really handy if you have contacts who are on different platforms. You can contact them all through this one spot here. Okay, well that's just a really quick look at Outlook. I might just pause here and see if there are any questions.
Yes, Ben, there is one question from Karen. She's wondering if her Microsoft Outlook account on the desktop, like the standard Outlook account, have the same sweep and category functions.
Not that I'm aware of. Definitely you can categorize and you can label your emails through the desktop, and you can also set up rules in the same way that you could set up rules here. So in this sweep option, I can do manage rules. Now, in terms of a sweep button, I don't think it's there on the desktop app, but you could simulate the same sort of thing by using these rules. So I can create a new rule. So let's say I wanted to filter out all the emails from my Outlook.com account. I can move that to a new folder called Ben Outlook. And I save that. And so whenever I have any emails from this account, that'll move it. If you wanted to, on the desktop, you can click, whenever you create a new rule, you can hit apply and run the rule over your folder, and it'll automatically run that rule. So any previous emails will be then captured in that rule and moved to wherever you want to move it to. So you can simulate that same sort of sweep action by using rules on your desktop application as well.
Magda would like to know, how can you set up the Outlook.com for a small office? What are some of your tips to set it up for a small office, say 5 people, for example?
Yeah, definitely. So each individual person would have to have their own Windows account. oh sorry, Microsoft account. So you can see that I'm logged in here as Ben Teoh. So everyone would have to have an Outlook account or an existing Hotmail account. And if you want, you can. Outlook also has provisions for POP as well. So if you want to add other email accounts, so if you have a work email account that you want to access through Outlook.com, and it has provisioning to use POP, then you can do that as well. If there's only 5 people, it's pretty simple. All you need to do, if you want to do the messaging as well, just make sure that you have that option as well, that if you want to have internal conversations, you could connect your Messenger account, for example, and you'll be able to see that in the people app. I'll show you the people quickly. This is just a contact manager, but you can see here that you can connect all your contacts through your different accounts, which is pretty handy.
Great. Another question here. Is this just a standalone email account like Gmail or Yahoo, or can it integrate with your Microsoft Outlook 2010 so you can access those emails on your tablet?
No, you can't. Well, unless you've got POP access, then you won't be able to pull your say Outlook 2010 emails into that. You'll need, depending on how your Exchange server is set up for your organisation, you'll have to look at that. If you want to use or access those emails on your tablet, you may want to use a dedicated app for that. This is essentially, I guess, a cloud email solution, but it's the free version. There are, if you wanted to do something like this online, you would have to look at, I guess, Microsoft Exchange, and that's a little bit more complicated than what we're covering today.
So you mentioned about an app before just now when you were explaining the answer. What kind of app would that be?
If you want to access, it depends on what sort of tablet you're using. You can use the Mail app on Windows tablets. You can use the default Mail app on Android and iOS, but there may be a few other apps out there. But all those tablets and all the phones have default settings or have default mail settings, apps that you can add your email settings to, and you'll be able to access your email accounts. Of course, that'll depend, again, how your email is set up. So if you're using Outlook 2010, the desktop app, to access emails through your organization's Exchange server, you have to make sure that that Exchange server allows your apps on your tablet to access your emails, and that'll be more of an IT issue to work out.
Another question from Wendy. If you sync with Facebook contacts, how does it manage any security with this?
Yeah, good question. So to do that, you need to give it permission to access your contacts through Facebook. So that's I mean, I can't comment explicitly on how on Outlook's I guess security levels, but I do know that Microsoft in particular are pushing really hard to make sure that you are fully aware of what sort of data they're using. So if I went to I don't have it in front of me, but I could go to my account settings, for example, and it'll show me all the apps, all the websites that my Outlook account is asking data from, and tells me what sort of data it's pulling and how it's pulling it. So, and it makes it really easy to turn that off as well, which is really appreciated in some instances where apps are accessing your Facebook data or your Twitter data that you may have given them permission in the past. Sometimes it's hard to find the way to disconnect that, but Microsoft are really, I guess, upfront about how they're doing that, and it's easy to turn those off through your account settings if you're not happy with it. Again, all of the contacts are only pulled from your other networks with your permission, so it will definitely ask you before actually doing it, so you'll have to enter your username and password first, in the same way that you would give access to, say, other apps. So let's say you wanted to use Instagram to post to your Facebook page, you would give permission in that aspect as well. Okay, so that's a quick look at Outlook, but hopefully as we move on you'll see how all of these different apps work together. So I'm going to jump over to SkyDrive now. There is a calendar as well that's that you can use with Outlook.com. Really nice looking. Let's have a look at it. It's a really nice looking calendar. Again, this reflects the calendar app on Windows 8, and you can pull in other calendars as well. So if you wanted to subscribe to a calendar like your work calendar, you could have that in here as well. Nice little feature here, nice little touch is that you can see what the weather is this week. Hey, figure out what you want to wear to your next meeting. And let's just jump over to SkyDrive. Okay, so SkyDrive, a lot of people use it as a storage space, so if you want to, I guess, back up your documents or back up your files to the cloud, then SkyDrive is a really good solution. You get 7 gigs of free space when you sign up for a SkyDrive account, and you can upgrade that. The current plans work out to be about 50 cents per additional gig, which is really nice, and there are a few other ways to get extra space through SkyDrive as well. For example, some Office 365 products come with an additional 20 gigs of storage on SkyDrive. But for a lot of people, if you just say backing up your Word documents or whatever, 7 gigs is actually quite a lot of space. But it's much more than just a storage space. You can see here that it's very much a sort of a file management system as well. So I've got documents here from work, from home. I can share documents as well with some of the home documents that we had in there. I can share them, say, with my wife and her SkyDrive account. She can open and edit them. And we can also look at pictures as well. Now the great thing about pictures is it isn't just a folder full of picture files. It actually becomes your own sort of photo album as well. So I've got a whole bunch of different photos here from going way back. But we can look at, let's look at some of these photos here. Okay, so you can see photos that we've taken in the past, some cute animal photos, but we can also click on these and it turns it into a slideshow. So you can browse your photos really nicely. You can even tag people as well if you wanted to, and it gives you all the information about like when it was taken and the dimensions, all that sort of information that you may be interested in your photos. But where this really shines is where you can start embedding your images into blog posts, or if you want to share your folders with families and with your family and friends, you can do that as well. And so they can check out your photos. The great thing about this is that they don't need a SkyDrive account, so you can share a photo, and they can jump in here and look at the slideshow if you shared the folder, and they can access this whole setup without having a SkyDrive account. It's one less hassle for other people viewing your documents as well. And it works quite well, especially if you want to use it on a website. So let's say you have a media release that you want to get out there and you want to share that on your website, but you also want to make sure it's available on your SkyDrive account. You can save that on SkyDrive, so it means you can access that media release from anywhere that you've got a browser, and then you can also embed that publicly in your website. I'm just going to show you what that looks like. I've just created a dummy page here. We can see different ways that you can embed files into your website. So the first way you can do it is just include a link to your folder. Now you can do this in a few different ways. You can make this completely public if you want to, or you can just or you can limit it to the people who just have the link. So if I was to click that, this will open up SkyDrive. I've created an in private tab here in Internet Explorer, so I'm not logged in, you can see. So anyone who went to that page, when they clicked on that link, this is what they would see. And again, as I was saying, they can then view this as a slideshow if they wanted to. Okay. All right, let's just jump back to that website. You can also embed photos themselves. So that's a photo that isn't stored on this website. This is stored on SkyDrive embedded in there. If you've done presentations that you want to embed, you can do those as well. So this is a PowerPoint presentation or a PowerPoint file that I've uploaded to SkyDrive, and that's embedded in my website. Again, you can change the privacy settings for these pretty easily too when you share them. All right, so let's see. All right, here, this webinar demo file. I've just right-clicked on that, and I can click sharing. And I can email it to someone, or I can post it to my social networks that I've connected, so Facebook, Twitter and LinkedIn. I can post a link directly to those, and anybody who's connected with me on those sites can click the link and open it. You can create a view-only link if you want, so for people who can only view the file but can't edit it, you can also do view and edit, so I can give that link to anybody and they can then go in and edit it. And then you can also make it public so people can search and discover it as well. So again, as I was saying, if you have a public document like a media release, that's really handy. In this case, the view and edit, you may have like an internal document that you want to share. So for the person who was asking about an office of, say, 5 people, you could have your Outlook accounts and then you would share your SkyDrive documents, and people can edit those documents and have access to those documents whenever they need them. Or if you just want to have a file that's view only, you can do that too. Of course, you can see here that for this document in particular, I've also given Christine permission to edit the document. And this is where things get pretty cool, and we'll have a look at that when we have a look at web apps. But we're just going to stick with SkyDrive for a little bit. Okay. The other thing that we can do with SkyDrive is use a desktop version of SkyDrive to synchronize our files. So let's say you don't want to, well, let's say you're editing your documents using the desktop version of PowerPoint or Word, so Word 2013 or PowerPoint 2013. You can then by default save those files to a folder on your computer that synchronizes with SkyDrive, and so whenever you save anything on that in that folder, it'll automatically come up here in SkyDrive. The fantastic thing about that is you can edit a document at work. Say you're using a desktop computer, not very portable, and then you want to make some edits at home. You can then synchronize, you can have that desktop synchronization happening on your home computer and open up the file straight away with all the edits done. Another cool feature that is included in that, if you're using the desktop versions of Word or PowerPoint, is that it'll actually ask you to pick up where you left off. So let's say you were making edits and you were halfway through the document, say page 3 or 4. When you open it up on your home computer, it'll say, would you like to pick up where you left off, and you click yes, and it will scroll down automatically to that, page 3 or 4 or wherever you left last. So that means that you can, using your SkyDrive account and your Microsoft account, you can essentially work from any computer quite easily. Now, let's say you don't have access to a desktop version of Office, and you need to make edits. or you're using an iPad, for example, and you want to make edits to your Word documents and you don't want to use a third-party app because it breaks the formatting or something like that, you can use Microsoft's free web apps. Again, web apps are completely free and accessible through SkyDrive. So all you need to do is come to your SkyDrive, you find the document that you want, and now I'm going to click up here. Now I can open up in Word if I want to, and that'll open up my desktop application, but I'm going to open this up in Word Web App. Now once this loads, you'll see that it looks very familiar. If you've used Office 2010 or Office 2013 or Office 365, you'll notice that this already looks very similar to what you normally see in the full version of this app. And this is running completely inside of Internet Explorer. This isn't an application that I've downloaded at all onto my computer. It's running straight from the browser. Now I'm going to click Edit Document. This is in read-only mode at the moment, so I can't actually make any edits here. I'm going to click Edit here and Edit in Word Web App. And again, now we have the ribbon here, which has all of my formatting needs. So it is a little bit more simplified than the full versions, but it gives you most of the tools that you would use normally anyway. So you've got your alignment, you've got your different headings, you can insert pictures and insert links, you can change the page layout, all that sort of thing. And of course you've got the share button directly from here. So before, as we were talking about, we can share items, we can share directly from the web app too. And you can see it's quite zippy as well. There's not that much lag for a web browser application. It's not bad. Hello there. Oh, go back. Hello there. Whoop. So really simple. Again, this is completely inside the browser, but gives you the formatting that you want. It doesn't try to convert the formatting to anything else. So if you're worried about opening up, say, your Word documents in another program because you know that it's not going to keep the same look and feel as you want, you don't have to worry about that. You can do that straight from here. There's also Excel included in the web apps and PowerPoint as well. So you can open up most of your work documents straight from your browser. Again, really handy if you're using a computer that that isn't yours or doesn't have these programs installed. And you can also use them on tablets as well. So you get your word processing done on your tablet for free, which is fantastic. Well, I might just pause there and see if there are any questions, Christine.
Is the app, well, can people access Office web apps on their iPhone or Android phone or tablets and iPads, etc.?
Yeah, for your phones, there's a viewer that you can use, and that displays files really easily. Look, to be honest, I probably wouldn't recommend trying to do the web apps on a phone just because the screen will be too small. But if you're using a tablet, an Android tablet or an iPad, then yeah, if you just open up Safari or Chrome or whatever you're using as your browser and go to skydrive.com, and it'll look very similar to this, and you just do the same sort of thing. You click on it and you can click edit and it'll start working. So the beauty of it is that it's all running within a browser. So as long as you've got a browser or like an up-to-date browser, then you'll be able to access web apps.
We have a couple of questions left from the email side of things before that we just followed through. Does Outlook.com and the calendar work all okay in Apple as well?
Yeah, definitely. So all you need to do is add, you just need to go to your mail settings. Now, I'm assuming you're asking from you don't want to use it in the browser, you want to use your your app or your mail app. Yeah, it's really simple. Just go add account and put your username and password in, and the mail app is quite clever in pulling out all the extra details that it needs, and it'll synchronize your email and your calendar.
Leisha is asking, they use Squirrel Mail straight from their hosting account and it's really clunky. Can this tool be used to bring those emails in? I guess to do with the Outlook.com tools.
That would, or you should be able to. Squirrel Mail tends to be, I think, attached to your web host, so you'll have to double check with them in terms of what access you can pull in. As I was saying, you can use Outlook to pull in external accounts through POP. Another way you can do it is to automatically forward your emails across. So you can do email forwarding, and so whenever an email comes to, say, your Squirrel Mail, you can make it so that Squirrel Mail automatically forwards that over to your Outlook account. Now that's another way of doing it. So there's a few different ways to get your email into Outlook.com.
A question on data storage, which is quite common in all our cloud discussions. Where is the data stored? Is it local?
That's a really good question. To be honest, I haven't looked into that myself. That may be a question for Claire.
Yes, Anthony, I will pass on that question to Claire afterwards because Claire has had to leave. But we will make sure that we get back to you offline on that, or anyone else who would like to know about that for that matter. Just let us know and we'll contact you back. I think we'll just go ahead with the presentation, Ben.
Okay, I'm just going to jump back to SkyDrive. As I was saying before, let's say you share this document, or you know, Christine has access to this document and she wants to edit it, and I want to edit it, but we didn't talk to each other, and so we're both editing it at the same time. What web apps will do is lock sections of the document. So for example, if I started editing up here on Christine's computer, she would see a little bracket and it would say this paragraph is locked by Ben, and when we both save our edits, it'll merge the edits together at the end. So that's probably one of the biggest gripes when it comes to shared documents is if you've ever tried to open up a document and somebody else is already working on it and then they're not in the office and they just have to open on the computer. Happens here every now and then. But now you can actually open up documents together and make sure you can edit them together. Another great thing here is that if you're not sure about what's happened in terms of the edits, or something's fallen over, let's say you lost internet connection and something got out of sync, you can click previous versions, and web apps will save up to 25 previous versions of the original document. So what that means is you can go back and click open, and see how the document evolved and if there was anything that was missed out. Very, very handy. Okay, just I guess another word on apps and mobile. I don't have it here on the demo, but if you are looking for a note-taking app, Microsoft's OneNote tool is really good, and it's a really good example of how they've integrated their platform. So you can, there are apps for your Android device or your Windows device or your Apple device, and you can you can save all your notes to SkyDrive and access them from anywhere. So if you're looking for a note-taking app, it's worth checking those out as well. That covers most of what we wanted to go through today. I was going to pause here and see if there are any final questions.
Yes, Colin would like to know, because they currently use a program called Share to share calendar, to share calendar. How can you share calendar on Outlook.com?
Yep, I can show you that. It's really simple. I just click share. I'll share my calendar. And there are different ways that you can share it. So I can assign it to someone who has a Windows account or a Microsoft account, sorry. So again, if you're looking at a small organization with a handful of people, you can share a calendar and you can give them rights depending on what sort of access you want to give them. Or you can just give them a link so they can see your details. Or you can do it this way. So let's say you have a separate email client that you want to send your calendar over to, send your calendar details to. You can use these different methods. ICS is fairly widely used, but you just copy these and put them into your calendar program. So that's pretty simple. If you want, you can also import. So you can either import, let's say you're using a different calendar program and you've got all your accounts, all your events already in there. Most email programs will have an export function. So you export that and then you can bring that file and import them here, and so all those calendar dates will then be imported directly into your calendar program here. You can also subscribe. So subscribing is generally read-only. So if you remember where we did that share and there were those links, if you did the same sort of thing from another program, you can click that in here.
Thanks, Ben. Can the SkyDrive files be backed up to a local server?
Yep, if you're just using the free version. If you want to talk to like the SharePoint version or SkyDrive Pro, that's again it's a little bit outside of the scope of today. But if you want to back up your SkyDrive files to your desktop or to a local server, you would simply just download the SkyDrive app and synchronize a folder. So you would then have a SkyDrive folder on your computer, which would have all your files in that. Maybe I'll show that to you and show you what it looks like. Okay, you can see down here I've got the little SkyDrive icon here. This is the SkyDrive app. I can open my SkyDrive folder, and that shows that this folder is synchronized. There's a little tick box there, and all these files here will reflect what's here in my online SkyDrive. And that works both ways, so it's synchronized. So I can save files into that folder on my desktop, and it'll upload them here. And if and then I can access that from home. So then I would turn my home computer on, and my home computer would look for that synchronization and pull any extra files from here down to my desktop computer. Let's say at home I don't want my work files there. I can choose to only synchronize, say, my documents folder or my pictures folder, and that way.
Right, great. Just continuing on the SkyDrive question, if something is deleted from the computer, will it be deleted from the SkyDrive as well?
Yep, that's right. So the folder is synchronized, so that means that any action that you take on the folder will also happen on SkyDrive as well. So yeah, if you delete a file, then it will also be deleted on SkyDrive. And then it'll also be deleted on any other computers that are synchronized as well, which is handy.
Other than that, we have reached the end of the webinar, and I would like to thank everyone for joining in today. And as I said earlier on, that we will share the recording with you afterwards once we've uploaded it online. And I hope to see you again. We will continue to be running webinars obviously throughout the year, so keep an eye out, and we'll hope to see you again in the next one. Thank you and have a good afternoon. Bye.